Hi, Regular Drews. Quick cold open to let you know about a sale. In honor of National Puzzle Day, Nancy Drew PC Games is currently holding a flash sale that ends today, Friday, January 30th. So right now you can get 30% off of any game at herinteractive.com by using the code Puzzle26 at checkout. That's PUZZLE26. Check out at Nancy Drew PC Games on Instagram or at Regular Nancy Drew, our Instagram, to learn more.
Well, aren't you a regular Nancy Drew?
I learned that from the Nancy Drew Detective.
Okay, go.
You think you can follow the clues and solve the case of the missing condiment, Nancy Drew?
Because I've read every Nancy Drew mystery ever written.
Nancy, please tell me you're joking.
Wow, you suck at this Nancy Drew stuff. You should get a new hobby.
My name is Carson Drew, and this is my assistant, Nancy.
Nancy Drew.
It's curtains for you, Miss Drew.
Nancy Drew strikes again.
A regular Nancy Drew.
Well, hello, Regular Drews.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. We're back with another episode 129. I am surprised every single time I look at that number, even though I know it only goes up once per episode. It just still seems so high.
It does, yeah.
Great. Our 5-year anniversary is coming up soon this year. And I can't believe it.
That doesn't feel real either. Oh my gosh.
No. But anyway, yes, we are back and we're here to discuss another TV show episode. This time, the 95 show. I'm so excited. We will be discussing the Ballad of Robin Hood, which is episode 5. So, yay. What do you think of the Ballad of Robin Hood, Kori?
It's fun. I have just 2 complaints about this one.
Yep.
And funny enough, neither of the complaints is about Ned.
Yeah.
This is a very Ned centric episode, and it's very it heavily leans into the trope of Nancy wants to go investigate and Ned is annoyed because she doesn't want to go on a date or do what he wants to do. But they literally say that, and so it just feels like the show is just kind of leaning into the trope and making fun of it a little bit. And so you already know what you're getting with that. So I don't even have a problem with that. My only issues are that Bess and George are there for a blip.
Yes, mine too. Yes. That's the first thing I wrote down, and I was like, why are the baddies Bess and George not here?
I know.
Legitimately, Nancy, Bess, and George's relationship in this show is one of the reasons why I love it so much. And they're in it for approximately 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And they're gone. Devastated.
I know. It's
anyway, sorry.
I mean, at least they're there, and we got the outfits that we did because
true.
As we discussed in the interview that we did, they're pretty iconic from this episode. They're pretty great.
Top tier.
And then my other complaint is this cop Brad guy.
Yes.
He reminds me that Carson does not ever appear in this show. I kind of forget it until he shows up and he's like, "Oh, I'm your dad's friend." And I'm like, "Yeah, where is Carson?" Because he's not here at all. And so it's just that one little one-off line that he references him. That's the only Carson that we get in the whole show.
Yeah,
so.
they literally, I think, don't ever reference him ever again, ever before.
Nope.
That's the only reference to Carson in the show is through this one guy. But I think we do have to talk about this guy more
what is
in
his
depth
deal?
Too, because there's definitely some weirdness there. So looking forward to that.
But how did you feel about the episode?
I love it. I just love it. I totally agree. The Ned-Nancy relationship dynamic in this is pretty tropey at this point or whatever, but to the point where it's just kind of fun and funny. And I appreciate it because they have to have that kind of, relationship struggle, that relationship dynamic. But I think in general, these shows, they are quick, but quick fun. So I just love it. Quick fun and great. Quick fun, exciting. And the only thing I was sad about is that we can't get more Bess and George. We can't get more of it. You know what I mean? That's my real regret. But I love the 20 minutes that we get. So
I love this episode. It's a good one.
I will say, okay, I do think that the mystery in this episode is a little bit complicated for what I think we typically get in this show, because obviously we are working with just that 20-minute runtime. So like technically I guess 30 with commercials or whatever, but we, you know, and so because of that, the writing is very like, it has to be really like on it. You know what I mean? Like
concise.
we can't concise. We can't waste a lot of time or whatever. And so I was kind of surprised that they did a mystery that was like this kind of complicated. And I did still have some questions. I feel like we didn't really get a full resolution of the mystery because of that, just because there isn't time. I don't know that we necessarily need more resolution than we get, but I was definitely left with questions at the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just thought that that was interesting because we tend to tie things up a little bit more neatly in the Nancy Drew universe than in this one where we left them kind of hanging. But we can talk about that too, and kind of talk about the message in that sense, because I do think that this episode has a message.
Oh, yeah.
It is called The Ballad of Robin Hood, obviously. So the message is not super subtle. You know what I mean?
No, of course.
It's pretty on the nose, but I love it. So yeah.
They do kind of leave you to like, fill in your own gaps. Like, here's the general gist of the mystery, and you get it. Like, there was a bad guy, and there was a sort of bad guy, but he was a good guy, sort of. And like, and that's all you need to know. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bess and George. I think, did George even have any lines? Like, maybe one line?
Yeah.
And then Bess's, like, only line is just to give, not a psychic hint, but, like, it is the clue that Nancy needs to keep going, you know? So.
Yeah. No, I think, because they talk about going to the baseball game, and Bess makes a joke about how they want to go because George just wants to look at the guys. Oh, and they came to borrow Nancy's, like, binoculars. And so I think George says, like, thank you to her or whatever when she goes to get them for her. But that's it. I literally think that might be it. So
at least we saw them, but
yeah.
We could have had more.
Anyway, 3 words.
Tiny binoculars, perhaps. I'm obsessed with the like theme because Kennedy McMahon had those as well, and she had it in this one with the rock climbing scene where she was looking at it.
I think I'm gonna post that scene to Instagram because I find that so funny, where she's like looking at the wall. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. Tiny binoculars. I wonder if we should have like, it should be like hobbies or activities, because I feel like there was a lot of that going around in this. Like, not only is like the whole episode kind of about what Nancy likes to do versus what Ned likes to do. We also talk about like what Bess and George are going to be doing. They're going to go to like this baseball game. We talk about what like our suspects like to do, right? Like
the rock climbing,
poetry and rock climbing. And it just feels like we're really hitting every single possible activity that one could do in the city on like a Saturday afternoon, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. Yeah.
Okay, so like tiny binoculars, hobbies, and then I feel like it could be jerks, or it could be classic Ned,
rich jerks.
Classic
Ned though, that's very Not that Ned is a rich jerk. I didn't mean to associate the two of them.
If the shoe fits, Kori.
Oh, gosh.
No, I mean, no, if anybody is a rich jerk in the Nancy-Ned relationship, it's definitely Nancy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Oh, gosh.
That's our girl. So, yeah.
We don't really know too much about Ned in this. We don't have any hints to his financial situation. Is he like independent? Does he have a job? Is he still doing that like
I think he's still
international trip thing
involved somehow with Africa. Because remember, this is kind of a spoiler, but at the end of the show, he talks about wanting Nancy to come with him.
That's right. Yeah.
I think back to Africa, I think.
Is it the Peace Corps? What is he doing? I can't remember. Specifically.
No, he's like working for some like charity organization,
some like relief group, Africa. Right?
But he works for them. It's not like he's volunteering or something. So it's not. I don't think he's part of like a Peace Corps type situation. I think he like works for that organization. But yeah, I don't know. But we don't know anything about his family or how he got into that, or if he went to school or for what, or we don't even know if he's an athlete in this one, which is honestly really interesting because Ned is canonically a big athlete. So of course Scott Speedman looks very athletic. So
yeah, I could buy him being a football player, sure.
But yeah, but we don't get any kind of real clues about that. But
you're right. Yeah, he's got the job. We just don't really know anything else. Anyway.
Yeah, we also don't really know why like he has that job outside of his clear passion for it, you know?
Yeah.
Which I think he does have. But yeah, it's just interesting for like a white guy from the Middle West to join a like charity that like specifically does work in Africa, you know? Like it's just very specific. And so I would really love to know what the impetus for that was.
There's a lot of that in the 90s going on, I feel like.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Very popular.
Mm-hmm. The whole like save the children of it all into the early aughts, you know?
Yeah, which is kind of a theme of the episode of the like activism part of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. True.
But we've got too many words here. Okay, so it
way
is
too many words. We were going to do tiny binoculars, hobbies, and then I guess classic Ned.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay. Those are our 3 words for the Ballad of Robin Hood.
There we go.
Okay.
Want to start us off?
Sure. So we start and Ned is in town, obviously, and him and Nancy are walking hand in hand down the city street while Nancy is kind of excitedly suggesting several fun things that they could do together that day. But Ned, in my opinion, ever the party pooper, is like saying like, oh, you're doing it again. And she's like, doing what? And he's like, you're making plans for the 2 of us together. And listen, way to start me off on like the wrong note, because instantly Ned says this and I'm like, excuse me. I don't see you talking about what you could be doing today, Ned. What do you mean you're mad at your girlfriend for making plans for things for you 2 to do together? That seems like something that you should want to do, Ned.
Right. Especially because presumably this is just another one of his trips that he's only here for a limited amount of time. Of course, Nancy's going to try to plan out things to make the most of that time, right?
Yes. But I think this is a misunderstanding, because really I think what he means is that she only ever wants to do things that she wants to do and then like makes him tag along to those things. Which is fair.
If he were to say, Nancy, I don't like those things, let's not do that.
But that's not what he said.
No.
He said, I don't like, you're doing it again. You're making plans for us. Yeah. I don't understand this complaint. But I think the complaint is that he wants to make the plans and he wants Nancy to let him make the plans, which is like, I'm sorry, step it up then, Ned? Yeah. Like, introduce an idea. You could interrupt her at any time and be like, oh, what if we did this?
And it's not like she's even like dragging him to things that only she likes. She's like, what if we got lunch?
Yeah.
What if we had food together? Like,
or there's like a concert or something that like, she's like, maybe we could go with Bess and George. Like she's suggested, there's a broad array of activities that she's suggesting. And none of them are weird. None of them are like, let's go snoop in an alleyway.
Right.
Or let's go, I mean, even like something basic like shop. It's not like that. It's like, we could go rollerblading or like, it's just like a whole variety.
And if you don't like that, we could do this. And he's like, you're doing it again. Doing what? Suggesting things to do today?
Sorry for loving you.
Oops.
Like, so sorry, my guy.
Oh my
anyway,
gosh. It's funny.
So I just think Ned is just such a wet blanket, like all of the time. And it doesn't matter what series we're in, what TV show we're in, what movie. He's always a wet blanket. And I think that's so funny.
Yeah, see, we know exactly what we're getting out of this. Because we know that's Ned for you. I'm not even like, mad about it. It's funny.
Yes, this is what I meant when I was like, classic Ned. Literally the first 5 seconds, he does something that is so classic Ned, and I get so irritated right away. Like, what else can I expect? It's just funny. You just have to laugh.
Yeah.
You really just have to laugh. So anyway, Nancy does very, gracefully agree, okay, yeah, let's do something you want to do, Ned. And he says he wants to go to the beach. Unfortunately, this is kind of where things go off the rails, in my opinion, because Nancy doesn't want to go to the beach. She's like, there's bugs and it's dirty and
It's hot.
Yeah. Just like all valid. And, but you did just agree that you would do something that he wanted to do. And now she's being a little bit of a brat about it, in my opinion.
Fair.
But whatever. But she does agree. She does ultimately agree to go to the beach with him.
Where is this beach? Because
I don't know.
Again, we're vaguely in Toronto, probably.
Right.
As the setting for the show. Is this where is this beach? Because it's not like it's Miami, some nice sunshine, tropical.
No.
I'm picturing like
chilly.
Atlantic City.
Oh no. This is the
Not
thing,
really.
right? Is it supposed to be New York? Because if it's supposed to be New York, then that's a trek to get to the beach.
Right.
Yeah. Or any kind of beach you want to get to.
Yeah.
I mean, but then, yeah, if it's not, I mean, like, presumably, canonically, for Nancy, she is somewhere in the Midwest, right? Chicago, if you're going to go by, like, the files or, like, the original text version, she's, like, kind of around there. Or she's maybe more East Coast. You're talking about the revised text, right? Like, so the location is kind of amorphous, and I do think that this show leaves, like, the location of what this quote-unquote big city is mysterious on purpose, right?
Of course.
They don't want to have to go into detail because they have such a short window of what, like, time and, like, then so what they can actually talk about. But yeah, where? Because the type of beach does matter in this context.
Yes.
So
yeah, if it's some like gross, cold, dirty beach, I get it, Nancy.
yeah.
I'm a beach girly. I would love to go to the beach, but not not a cold one where it's like gross, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
still getting a sunburn. No.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, if Ned is in town, if he's flown in from Africa where he works, like, I can understand why he would want to, do things that he normally couldn't do in Africa.
Sure. Yeah.
But it seems like in Africa, depending on where you are, I guess Africa's a big continent. We don't talk about where he is. No, wait, we do talk about where specifically he is. It's not Nigeria, is it?
In the second episode, right?
It's not Cape Town. It's not Cape Town. I swear it was Nigeria, which is on the coast. Nigeria's a big country, but I swear it was. I swear.
I mean, but potentially he could have gone to a beach in Africa, of course. Like,
yeah, but like with like amazing beaches.
Right.
Africa, you know what I mean? Like, definitely none of your US beaches are gonna look like probably any of the beaches in Africa. But Africa is also, like, warm, right?
Right, yeah.
And I'd be thinking if you're in like a north-ish city, even if it's the summer, I mean, it could be hot, I guess. I don't know. I just think, like, why are you wanting more hot? Like another hot activity?
Right.
When you could be doing something that's more unique to where you are, like going to a baseball game with Bess and George, or going to a concert or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like a situation maybe where Ned is being really one note and like likes what he likes, which is fair and valid, but then trying to like force Nancy to like the thing that he likes, which was his exact complaint against her. So I just think we need to break up.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously we're not compatible,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So Nancy's like, okay, yes, we can go to the beach if that's really what you want to do. But just as she says that that's something that she'll do with him, money starts to rain down from the sky onto them. No joke. Bills are flowing down from the sky. So Nancy looks up and she sees that someone from atop of a building is like dumping all of these bills off of the building. And everyone like around on the ground is like clamoring for the money, trying to get the, all of the bills or whatever. But Nancy grabs Ned and she runs around the building with him to the fire escape to climb up to the top to see if they can catch this guy. But unfortunately, he gets away. But it's really weird, though, because how did he get away? Because the fire escape was like the only roof access. There is a door, but it's locked. So like how he would have had to like run past them. Like they would have had to have caught him, right? So what happened there?
So Nancy kind of gives us some backstory. She says this is the third time that this has happened lately. This guy, who of course we don't know who he is, he robs a place and then will just go dump the money onto a crowd of people. I guess he's done it in 2 other locations in the city. Now this makes the 3rd time, and then he just vanishes. So modern day Robin Hood.
Yeah.
And Nancy is stumped. She just, like you said, she has no idea how he could have gotten off the roof because, like, he would have had to have passed them or just vanished, right? But then she spots a climbing anchor that's, like, bolted to the rooftop. So she's like, oh, okay, obviously he's a climber. He put, like, a rope through this and used it to climb down and made his escape that way. But then somebody else comes up the fire escape, and this is Sergeant Brad Jacobs, and he stops him. He's like, hey, you guys. And I guess at first he thinks that they could be the culprits, but then he asks for their IDs. And he's like, wait, Nancy Drew, I know your father. Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, so we get this like little story from them that they worked on some case together, and he's like super impressed with Carson, and so therefore he knows that Nancy's also super impressive. And of course, Ned is very annoyed with Brad's like, impression of Nancy.
Okay, this is weird. Like right off the bat, this is weird. Like it's at first, I think he's annoyed because Brad isn't. It's either because Brad is like ignoring him and paying more attention to Nancy, so he feels like jealous of the attention from the cop, or worse, is he like insecure because Nancy is so cool. And everyone loves her, and no one thinks that way about him.
Or is it both?
Probably both. Yeah. But like, this is what I mean. Classic Ned. Like, wow. Like, your girlfriend is getting, like, talked up by this police officer. And, like, like, Nancy is going to school for criminal
criminology, right?
Criminology, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, this is, like, what she wants to do with her life. So, like, her having this, like, connection or whatever and getting praise from this guy is, like, probably so meaningful to her. And you're just standing there being a tool, like, being annoyed about it. Like, wow. Like, just like, he's weird priorities. And like, this is your girlfriend. Like, get it together. Be supportive. Like, anyway.
No, the vibes in this scene are very awkward and uncomfortable. Like, and it's really hard to like put your finger on exactly why, but it's definitely Ned's annoyance that it's coming from. Yeah. So yeah, the detective Brad tells them that he is very close to finding this guy and basically asks them to leave. But Nancy's like, oh, hey, you should check out that climbing anchor over there because that might help you. And after they like go back down the fire escape or whatever, Nancy turns to Ned and is like, oh, did you see his face? Like, I'm right. Like, the look on his face tells me that I was definitely right about that. And Ned is like, okay, well, you know what? We did that. Brad's got it from here, right? So time to go get our swimsuits and head to the beach, right? And oh my gosh, Tracy is just the cutest. The look that goes over Nancy's face is so funny because you could just tell she's like, but no, I want to keep investigating. Oh, she's so sweet. Of course, Ned just like has to give it to her for that. So she buys him a hot dog. And I think at this point they see, as they're like walking around the building, there's this guy in this ugly orange blazer that's just kind of like stalking around, right? Yeah, so they see this guy, but he kind of like darts away all suspiciously. And so whatever. But remember, ugly orange blazer guy. I don't actually know his name. He's just orange blazer guy in my mind. I don't think we ever
learned his name, so
I guess he is orange blazer guy.
Ugly orange blazer guy. Yeah.
Then, so Nancy buys Ned a hot dog, and then he actually goes to, he goes to spend the money, because I guess he'd grabbed some of the money that Robin Hood dropped on everybody, and he goes to spend that, and Nancy notices that there's poetry written on it, pretty bad poetry at that, but then she's like, okay, so this guy is not just a climber, he's also a poet. So we're looking for some climbing poet, right? So she decides that, like, okay, there's a climbing gym near here. Why don't we go check that out? And so they do. Do you want to take it from here?
Sure. So they show up to this climbing gym and they're looking around and making some comments about like all of the different routes that look pretty difficult. And there's like this one like that's like really hard. And there is a girl on it who is like really doing really well and like reaches the top. And Ned is thoroughly checking her out. And Nancy notices and she's like, she's pretty good, huh? Pretty talented. And just like clearly noticing her. And he's like, oh, yeah, she's like super good at that. Very athletic. It's like, oh, just break up. God.
Break up.
Listen, no, it's totally fair to notice someone else is attractive, but it's just so weird in the context of all of this because it's just like the lack of focus on your own relationship is what is wild, because like clearly you've had like all of this kind of drama today about like what you're going to do, and now you're all in your feelings because Nancy is investigating another mystery yet again. And maybe that's totally fair if it's not what you want to do, but then after all of that, to go check out another girl and expect it to be okay, and Nancy, of course, is cool as a cucumber. She honestly doesn't really care. She just moves on, you know, but it's like, it's just wild. Like, how many signs do you need that you two aren't meant to be together? Like, I don't understand.
Seriously.
Anyway. So after he checks out this girl, Nancy is looking at this same climbing wall and notices that like at the top, people have like all signed their names or whatever when they've successfully made the climb. But then she sees at the top, there is also some poetry written up there too. So it does look like our Robin Hood poet climber has been here, right?
We have to talk about how bad this poetry is. I should have taken notes on exactly what it was.
I didn't either, but it was like, oh gosh.
Men for warfare, women on welfare, people don't care.
Like government doesn't care or something. I say no fair.
Yes. It's all like really cheesy like that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Also, the writing itself matches the writing that's on the dollar bill or whatever bill it was that he threw out. And I don't know how Nancy can tell this from so far away, except for the fact that she's got her tiny little binocular that she holds up one eye, squinting at the top of the wall. It's so freaking
perfect.
Yes. But so they look at that, and then Nancy kind of looks around here at this climbing gym a little bit, and then she spots that same ugly orange blazer guy standing on the other side of the gym, and he sees her see him, and he runs. So she follows, of course, but unfortunately he gets into a car and drives away. She does see the car though. But it's weird because, like, she doesn't think that this is Robin Hood for some reason. I don't know what that reason is, except that he is wearing a blazer, which seems like he wouldn't have been if he was climbing up a building to go dump money.
Why would you wear that? That's the first red flag. Not even the fact that he ran. He's suspicious because that orange blazer is so ugly. Why would you wear that for climbing adventure?
Oh my God.
Also, I guess the fact that he kind of hung around the scene after... Right. The bills got thrown, maybe that tipped her off, but there's no real reason she shouldn't suspect him right now.
Right. But anyway, she doesn't think he's Robin Hood, but he gets away anyway. So they go back to Nancy's apartment, and they are now packing for the beach because I guess Nancy has like agreed finally to go after not really finding anything at the climbing gym, or striking out, I guess, at the climbing gym. And Bess and George show up to borrow some binoculars from Nancy. This is what we were talking about. They are going to a baseball game, and Bess ends up looking at Nancy's notebook where she's been taking notes about all this weird stuff that's been happening. And she sees where Nancy has written down some of the poetry that was written on that bill that got thrown off of the building that says change exchange on it, like 2 rhyming words, change exchange. And Bess goes, oh, change exchange, that poetry club that's downtown. Are you gonna go to the poetry club?
Thank you, Bess. So helpful.
And Nancy's like, what? Bess is like, yeah, there's a poetry club that's called Change Exchange. Which is like, I love this. I love this so much. I love that Bess is the one who gives her this clue because it makes so much sense. Because Bess is obviously a very like kind of well-known gossip columnist in this city. And of course she would know about like all the local like gatherings and everything happening. Like I just love it.
She also makes a comment. She's like, "Oh yeah, there's so many brooding artists there. I love it."
Yes, you know the. Oh no, she says to Nancy. She goes, "You know the type, Nancy." And then Nancy like gives like a look at like Ned, and they like look at each other like awkwardly for a moment, almost as if to imply that Nancy is dating other people when Ned is not around.
Ooh, scandalous.
That's what I picked.
I didn't
up.
even catch that, but yeah, no, that's a good
I picked that up. Because Beth's like, you know the type, meaning Nancy knows the type.
Yeah.
Like, what else does that mean? You know what I mean? Anyway.
That's funny.
So, of course, now Nancy wants to head to this poetry club to go investigate there. So she and Ned head over there. And actually, Sergeant Brad Jacobs is already on the scene. Okay, I swear, the very first time he showed up, I was so for sure that he was in on this, that he was a bad guy.
No, we have to talk about this later because I was too. There's a scene later where I was like, oh my gosh, he's about to reveal and like twist. Like he's the bad guy with the gun.
Yes!
When he runs over and he's like, I'll take that. I was so certain that he was going to turn around and be like, and now I've got you.
Yes, he gives these such weird vibes. And I was like, it's super convenient that you happen to show up in all these places and they just happen to be investigating.
Oh, and when his gun gets stolen and when he gets hit over the head, I'm like, you're faking it. You're faking it. Fake blood. Fake blood. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, totally. But we can talk about that more because I don't know that there is enough evidence at the end of the episode to say that he wasn't.
Exactly.
So we should talk about that.
Yes.
We should talk about that for sure. But so they show up to this poetry club and Brad is there. Also, I know he goes by Sergeant Jacobs, but they just call him Brad. And I find that so funny and weird. And part of it is because of what happens in this scene. Okay, so they meet him and Nancy tells him that she thinks that actually Robin Hood and like the person doing the thefts are actually two different people because like the thefts are like so well coordinated and like basically like really professional, but the way that like Robin Hood disposes of the money is like way too sloppy basically and like way too riddled with evidence, and that it seems like two different people are actually like one is stealing and one is getting rid of the money. And so she thinks that Brad needs to be looking for two people. And he basically confirms that. And then Nancy brings up the other man that she saw fleeing from the climbing gym, and she thinks that he's this other guy. But Brad did not know about this guy and hasn't seen this guy. And so he thinks that the way that Nancy is describing what ugly orange blazer guy is doing makes it seem that like he's actually looking for Robin Hood too. And not that they are in on this together, not that they're working on it together, but that this guy is after Robin Hood the same as they are.
Interesting.
But so this is like an awkward scene because Ned comes in and Nancy is talking to Brad kind of, animatedly about all of this. And Ned is like, Nancy, do you want me to get you a drink while we're here? Right? Because it's like a cafe, like poetry club type of thing. He asks her like she wants some coffee or something. And she says, oh yeah, that would be great. Like get me this or whatever. And Brad just goes, oh yeah, Nick, get me this. Without even like, Ned didn't ask him.
Nope.
He just like is like being like a dick to him. And Ned says, oh, my name's Ned, not Nick. And he goes, yeah, whatever.
Like, rude, first of all.
Really rude, super rude to expect someone to buy a drink for you. Like Nancy's his girlfriend. Like that's a different situation, but then also double rude to then get his name wrong and then triple rude to not care that you got his name wrong.
He's hitting on Nancy.
Dick and is absolutely hitting on Nancy in this scene.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's so awkward because we have established Brad is a friend of Nancy's father and they've worked together. So he is at least very much professional adult male age.
Not 19-year-old girl
Not
age.
a 19-year-old student in the city.
No.
So, and he has gray hair. So it's not like, and I mean, you can have gray hair at any time in your life, you know, but like he's definitely portrayed as being older.
Mm-hmm.
And it much to Nancy's senior. And so it's like really weird how he's like trying to get rid of Ned in this scene
Mm-hmm.
and like trying to animatedly like engage Nancy in this conversation about the case. It's creepy. Creepy as heck. And I think that's why he is like, oh, call me Brad. You should call me Brad, Nancy, because I want to be with you.
I'm so cool. Oh my God.
It's so weird. It's so weird. Anyway, so they decide all of this. Okay, so we're looking for two guys, and one of them is also looking for Robin Hood. Meanwhile, Ned does go to the counter, gets Nancy's coffee, and gets Brad a drink. Thank you, Ned, for being so kind in those situations. If this guy had acted like a dick to me, I would not have bought him a drink.
No, of course not.
I just wouldn't have done it. But he did, and he brings their drinks over, and he says, hey, Nancy, guess what? While I was ordering, I was talking to someone else, like up here, who comes to this club, and they were mentioning that there was some guy who has been spray painting bad poetry all over this warehouse in this like other location in the city. And he's like, this sounds like it could possibly be our guy. Like, maybe we should go check this out. Which also, this is another thing. I'm sorry. There's so many layers to this. But I'm just like, Ned, like, clearly is also kind of into this now at this point, too.
Yeah.
He's like talking to other people about the case, like away from Nancy. So, like, he has some kind of like invested interest in solving this, too. So, like, I don't understand where all of this, like, it just seems like he's absolutely faking not liking the things that Nancy likes.
Which makes him even worse.
So he's just doing it just to be difficult?
Uh-huh.
And I think to kind of, like, single Nancy out and make her seem like the bad guy in their relationship.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
When it's clearly him. Like, he's like, oh, you know, she's at the very beginning of the episode. She's like, oh, I want to do all of this. Like, we do this or do that or do that. And he's like, don't, you're doing it again. Like, doing what? Oh, making plans for us? Making plans for us. Yeah. And you don't ever do anything I want to do. So he's just like singling her out, finding things that like he can like pick about her when really it's just because he doesn't want to be with her.
Yeah.
Just break up. Just break up.
Congratulations, Ned. You found something you actually want to do, but you won't even let yourself do it because you'd rather rag on Nancy.
This is what I'm saying. Like, he's clearly interested in the mystery. He brings this up. He's like, I have this great point. Now, it could also be that maybe he's trying to, like, get kind of in with Nancy, right? Like, yes, get one over on Brad, and also, you know, try to, like, make himself more interesting to Nancy, because clearly she's more interested in the mystery than in him. But it doesn't seem like that. And maybe it's just the way Scott Speedman, who plays Ned, plays this scene, but he comes up so sweetly and earnestly that, like, it doesn't seem like that. It doesn't seem like, oh, hey, you know, bragging and like coming in like that, or even like, hey, Nancy, come over here. Guess what? You know?
Yeah.
So he's pretty earnest about it. So it doesn't seems like he's interested. Seems like he wants to solve the case too. Anyway, okay. But so they decide, okay, yes, let's go to this warehouse thing. So they all kind of get up to start to leave. And then Nancy starts to hear this poet on stage who's reciting pretty bad poetry. And it's this poem about poetry in motion and then like people not caring about it.
Poetry in motion. Cause a commotion.
Yes.
Nobody cares.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And Nancy is like, oh, Robin Hood has been writing poetry on money and then throwing it off of buildings. He's trying to make poetry in motion. And she thinks this is Robin Hood on stage. And so she like points him out to them. And then he notices and he runs away. So, okay, pretty clear that this guy is Robin Hood now. We all kind of try to run after him, but he does some pretty impressive parkour to like get away. And then we see that same car that ugly orange blazer guy was driving away in skid after this guy, chasing him down the street. So Nancy is like, well, crap. We got to go after these guys.
Oh my gosh.
You want to take it?
Oh, yes. So she and Ned jump into her car, and then Brad yells like, "No, wait for backup!" And he jumps into his car as well, and they all drive to the warehouse. I don't really understand how Brad gets there first because he tells them to wait for backup, and then see, this is what made me think
why it's suspicious.
he was in on it, right?
Yeah,
it's a little weird.
Well, so it's like they make it like Nancy and Ned have like lost this guy, like they couldn't catch up to them or whatever, and they just assume, okay, well, probably they went to the warehouse, right? Because this guy wants to retreat somewhere that he like knows, right, to be safe. So they assume they go to the warehouse, but then it's almost like, well, if Brad got there first, he would have had to know that ahead of time instead of like trying to follow them, which is what is so weird about it. So, but I think they say something too about like, oh, police sirens or something, like he must have
gotten the radio or something, that, or
like he was able to like get past people faster than they were.
Right, okay,
because of his sirens, like he was able to get around. But that doesn't make any sense to me though, because if he had done that, then you would have noticed, because he would have been following you in the same direction, right?
This is
at
weird
least to start with. Like maybe eventually you split up, but like to start with, you both went down that same street,
right?
So,
and he already put his siren on like as soon as he started driving. We see him take the little thing out and put it on top of his car. So somehow Brad arrives first, and when they get there, Brad's car is parked, but no sign of the other car. So Nancy parks, and she's like, okay, let's go in and try to catch up with Brad or whatever, see if he needs any help, because clearly his backup has not arrived, because he told them to wait for backup and then gets there ahead of them and doesn't wait for backup. I don't really understand.
Time out also, too, because he says he literally theoretically learns about the warehouse the first time about 5 minutes ago. And I don't think they say specifically where it is. Like, Ned knows where it is. And they're all going to head there together. I think maybe he mentions vaguely where it is.
No, Brad's in on this.
But how does Brad know where specifically the warehouse is to get there before Ned and Nancy?
Because Orange Blazer guy told him the details, because they're buddies and they're in on it together.
I'm wondering, Kori.
This is very suspicious. This bothers me.
And then, if you were going to wait for backup, why are you there without backup? It's just, it seemed like he was maybe saying wait for backup to Nancy so that she wouldn't go to the warehouse.
All suspicious.
Yeah.
Very suspicious. But yeah, it turns out he should have waited for backup, because when they get inside, they find him just like on a stairwell, waking up. Like he's just been clobbered over the head. He's bleeding from the top of his head. He's really disoriented. Like he's literally just regained consciousness as they've arrived. And so Ned like gives him his shirt to help like clot the blood or whatever. And then Nancy runs ahead to go look for whoever clobbered Brad over the head, presumably Orange Blazer guy, right? And as she's walking away, Brad yells after her, "Hold on, wait, he took my gun." Because Brad like reaches for his gun and realizes it's not there. Oh my gosh.
It just seems to me as though he gets to the warehouse because he knows that this is where, or maybe he finally knows after Ned said that this is where, you know, the money is being hidden. And there must have been some kind of previous other connection to this warehouse from the case, like somehow. And so he knows exactly where it is. So he goes there because he's going to try to get the money, right? Because this is the issue, right? Is like someone has been stealing this money, and then Robin Hood must have gotten his hands on it somehow and has been distributing it to everybody. And so his impetus maybe, or his goal is maybe not to go and stop Robin Hood, but to go and recover the money for himself. And so in my mind, it's like, okay, he gets to the warehouse. Orange Blazer guy is also there. Maybe they were in on it together. Maybe they did. Him and Brad did do these thefts together or whatever. And Orange Blazer's guy is like, thanks so much for leading me to the money. I don't
Bonk.
need you anymore. Bonk on the head. Let me take your gun and I'll go get the money and leave by myself.
That sounds pretty plausible to me.
So
that's like exactly what it looks like to me. But
I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. So Nancy goes further into the warehouse, and it's like, it's abandoned, obviously, but it's like not under construction, but there's like weird scaffolding all inside. And so there's like all these levels to where they could go. And there's a lot of staircases and stuff inside this warehouse. So Nancy heads into a room where money has been pasted on the walls with poetry written all over it. So obviously Robin Hood's been hanging out here. And this is when they are confronted by Orange Blazer guy, and he's got the gun. So luckily Robin Hood jumps down out of nowhere.
He's like in the rafters.
Yeah, he jumps down and tackles him and then runs out. And then Nancy and Ned also run out to get away from Orange Blazer guy. So this scene gets a little bit chaotic. They're all kind of like playing hide and seek effectively in this warehouse, trying to like hide from Orange Blazer guy, and he's trying to shoot them. And it's a lot. But he eventually does end up like actually start shooting at them. And Robin Hood is dangling from one of the scaffolding. He almost falls at one point, and he's holding on just by one arm.
Well, because he shoots him.
Yeah.
Shoots at him?
He shoots at him, and so I think he has to jump out of the way, and he trips and falls in doing that. And so Blazer guy is like, oh, perfect. Now that you're just dangling there, perfect target. I'll just shoot you right now. But before he has the opportunity to actually shoot him, Nancy comes up over him and dumps a bag of money over his head so that he can't see anything. And Ned uses this opportunity to run, tackle him, and grab the gun. This is where Robin Hood gets away. He recites another bad poem as he's leaving. He's like,
it's so funny.
I go out into city's sprawl. I may have stumbled. I did not fall. And it's so bad. But he won't even talk to them normally. He only speaks in poems.
Yes.
And so Nancy's like, wait, don't go yet. I want to ask you something. But Ned's holding Orange Blazer guy at gunpoint, and Brad runs up and he's like, all right, I'll take the gun from here. And this is where I swear he was about to turn around and turn the gun on Nancy and Ned and be like, actually, I'm in on it as well. You fell for it. But that's not what happened.
If they had even 10 more minutes in an episode, 5 more minutes in this episode, I think they would have done that.
You think so?
I absolutely think so.
They did set it up for it perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's not what happens. He takes the gun, he holds Blazer guy at gunpoint, and he tells Nancy, oh, this was just like working with your dad. Mm-hmm. So lovely.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell her?
Sure.
Here? I love this scene. This is so funny.
So we cut to Nancy's apartment where Nancy and Ned are sitting there in beach chairs just pretending to be at the beach. Nancy has put some footage of a beach scene on the TV, and they are sitting there watching it, sweating somehow. And
she's probably turned off the air conditioning or opened the windows
the heat
or something.
Up or something.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. And then they kind of talk a little bit about the mystery, and Nancy says that Robin Hood did fully get away and that they probably actually won't go after him now that they've caught the actual thief. And that's the end.
I did love how they filmed that though, because at first you think that they're
tell.
actually at the beach, and then the camera kind of just pans and you see Nancy slipping around. It's oh, well, Ned, you got what you wanted, sort of. And he's a little bit pouting, but it's not actually that big of a deal. So I think it's funny.
Oh my God, I can only roll my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I have to talk about this too, because so theoretically what happens is Brad is great, I got it from here, you guys head out. We don't know what happens after that. Even Nancy says that she doesn't know what happens after that, except for the fact that Robin Hood got away and that they're probably not going to go after him.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know that other guy got arrested. She doesn't know what happened with the money. So my thought is, okay, yeah, maybe it was smart for Brad to not turn the gun on Ned and Nancy, right? Because if he came to the warehouse, got jumped by Orange Blazer guy, and he now wants Orange Blazer guy out of the way because Orange Blazer guy turned on him first. So once Ned and Nancy leave, what's stopping him from shooting Orange Blazer guy and then stealing all the money for himself? And then we never hear about it after the fact.
Yep.
It makes sense to me because I do think that a lot of the thefts were like, if I'm remembering correctly, were like post office thefts, like people he was stealing from post office.
I think so.
It would make sense that you might need someone on the inside, you know, like a cop or something to kind of grease the wheels and that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's really convenient, and Brad gives super bad vibes. Okay.
Like, at best, he seems like a mole, you know?
Yes. I just think part of the reason why he's so suspicious is because of how into Nancy he is. Like, yeah, it could just be that he's a creepy old man, you know, they're a dime a dozen or whatever. But like, it also could be that maybe he's like trying to like really engage with Nancy because he realizes, oh, she's a threat to this operation now. So it's kind of, he needs to know what she knows.
Right.
And he needs to try to like divert her away in a way where like it's not suspicious. And if she likes him and thinks that he respects her, she's more likely to listen to him.
That's a pretty effective distraction, you know, as it were.
So I don't know. So anyway. So I would be interested if we could go ring, ring, Daddy Carson. What do you actually know about this Brad guy?
Right.
So
the first time I watched this episode, I was like, oh, great. We're going to get at least
Carson
phone call or a cameo.
Yeah.
Or at least setting it up for a future episode. Nope,
So
no
sad.
Carson. Yeah.
So
I don't
sad.
think we even name him. I think she just says my dad. I don't know that we even say
Really?
Carson. Maybe he does at the end. No, it's
No, he says just like working with your father.
Just your father. Yeah.
On the roof, they don't?
Nope, he just says your father, or I worked with your dad.
Well,
or
because
something.
he says Nancy Drew. Are you related to Carson Drew? You're not Carson Drew's daughter. Or
Oh,
something.
yeah, no, he
Maybe
probably
something
does
like
say that. Yeah.
Yeah. I swear they say it like once.
They must. They have to.
Because she says, yeah, that's my father.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Well, maybe he says, oh, you're Nancy Drew. I worked with your father. I think that's what he says.
Well, okay,
I have to go back and rewatch it. Not
hold
that it
the
matters.
Tapes. Hold the tapes. This won't take long. He says, Nancy Drew, I know your father. We worked together on the Madison case. That's all he says.
So he knows Carson well enough to know his daughter's name and doesn't have qualms with hitting on that daughter?
Feels suspicious.
Not even like I recognize that last name. Are you Carson's daughter? Just knows already that Carson has a daughter named Nancy.
Yeah.
Right? That's weird,
There's
right?
There's no way. I kind of don't even believe that this guy actually did work with Carson.
Why didn't we have a phone call where Nancy confirms with Carson? That would have been interesting. If this was a 45-minute episode, that's what I would do. I would expand it to where there's a side plot where Nancy finds out from Carson that Brad is suspicious, and at the end she turns it around on him. She tricks him into like giving himself away, that he's like a complicated.
Or so no, what happens, it still ends the same way, similarly, in that they show up at the warehouse, he's been knocked unconscious or whatever, and then eventually they do get held at gunpoint by him. But Nancy already knew that he was dirty, and so Carson is there like recording it or like with the actual police or whatever, and then they come and like, thank you so much for like, and then Nancy pulls a confession out of him while he's holding them at gunpoint. And the cops over here.
Headcanon. That's how it happens. Yes. And then we'd have an excuse for Carson to show up. I love that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's like, but like, we don't even know that she's done this, right? Like, maybe we allude to a conversation with her father that she has on the phone, but like, we don't hear that conversation, or like, maybe we just hear one side of it as she like walks out of the room or something. And then at the very end, he shows up. And she's like, thanks for coming, Dad. Like, I
love that idea.
You know?
Speaking of, why is there no Carson in this show? This is one of the questions we should have asked Michael Klein when we had the interview with him. because this is the only adaptation without a Carson in it.
Yeah.
Which is
There
so
were
weird.
honestly so many more questions that I wanted to ask. We
I
had so
know.
many lined up.
There was at
We
least 10
brainstormed
that we
so many
cut.
questions.
Yeah.
We just had to skip because we only had we still spent like an hour and a half with them.
Mm-hmm.
But like I could have spent like 4 hours
I know.
just being like all the minutia. Tell me this, tell me that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, definitely. Why no Carson?
I
It's
get it that
sad.
we're trying to set her up to be this like big city, you know,
Mhm.
the focus
Yeah.
should be on the Nancy Best George relationship
Yes.
and just
Yeah.
them being students in the big city. I get that.
Mhm.
And so to add dad in as this like other figure that's maybe an authority
Yeah.
or something, we don't want Nancy to have an authority figure in this. So I get
No.
that, but I just love Carson. I always want to see him, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I just need some cameos. That's all I need. Just some
know.
little tiny nods is all I need. But I do think I wish that instead of having 2 time slots, one for Nancy Drew, one for Hardy Boys, I wish that they had combined the shows, not in the same way that the 77 show did. I'm sure that the
Mhm.
reason for that is that they were trying to differentiate themselves from that TV show.
Of
Which, again,
course, yeah.
another question that I'd love to ask Michael. Michael, if you happen to be listening because we are covering your TV show, do please email us and tell us. But yeah, that's another question I have. I wish that they would combine the TV show so that we could have focus on one mystery and we could still do like a same or similar mystery, but then be able to have more story beats between all of our beloved characters, you know?
Yeah.
And then we could have the full hour and not 2 30-minute segments, you know?
I'm telling myself that the lack of Carson is due to them getting canceled after just one season. That
Yes.
had we gotten another season, Carson would have been in it at some point.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm telling myself.
Well, I think season 2 would have had possibly no Ned, less to no Ned, right? Because
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone, you know, who hasn't watched the end, but things are not necessarily left in a great place between Ned and Nancy at the end of the show. And
This is
so
true.
I wonder, like, well, in season 2, we're going to kind of lose that completely. And so then there's kind of like a gap possibly for another character to show up. Carson would be a great option. So
But they did kind of set it up as like a Ned's going away and she's met the Hardy Boys now. So maybe
right.
we would have had more team ups in season 2.
Yeah.
But
And like Michael was saying in our interview, in order to like kind of get any traction, a show really has to have a second, sometimes third season. So
of course, yeah.
oh,
what could have been?
I know.
You
so
know,
depressed.
we did also ask them about like where they thought Nancy Best and George would be today. And Michael has previously worked on a show that involved an older Nancy Drew. I'm not saying that season 2 is impossible, you know? Like
That's so true.
they could still do it.
That's so true, Kori.
I don't expect that to happen, but what could be? I would watch it.
You guys, I know there's been like a lot of contention with Nancy Drew going into the public domain this year. And like people are really worried about the types of Nancy Drew that we're going to see after this has happened. But I could just not be more excited.
Oh, I know. Me too.
I mean, yes, okay, there's the possibility for like not good stuff to happen. You know, certain creations that are like less than ideal or whatever for Nancy. But just imagine the possibilities of what could happen.
Exactly. Yeah. If something bad could happen, something great could happen too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I would say too. Something great could happen. You brought up the other day to me that like a Nancy Drew slasher or something, and like people were like horrified at the thought of that. And I was like, I honestly could not be more excited for the concept of a Nancy Drew slasher film. And Nancy Drew would make a great final girl. I think you said that.
Yeah.
And there's just so many creative possibilities with Nancy Drew older, with, I don't know, Nancy Drew in freaking space. And I know that probably Harriet Stradmeyer Adams is turning in her grave right now.
She already did at the pilot of the CW show. So.
But I can't. I'm so excited. I know.
Yeah.
And I think Yeah, the 925 show and like all of these iterations of Nancy that we've gotten from this to the files, like they're all different and they're all so unique and so interesting and just fun. It's just fun at this point to talk about like, you know, where Nancy has been and like where she could possibly go next, you know? I'm just excited. So
Me too. Yeah, in the right hands, like even a bad idea could result in something great.
Yeah.
You know? Of course, in the wrong hands, it could be awful. But with this show, it was in the right hands to begin with. So, you know.
But also, like, who among us doesn't love sometimes watching really bad stuff?
Of course.
You know, engaging in like stuff that's not good just because it's fun and funny and entertaining. Like, that's fine. That's fine.
Let's be honest, there were already some books that were pretty bad. That were Simon and Schuster sanctioned.
Gross and Dunlap sanctioned too.
Oh yes, Gross and Dunlap sanctioned. Mystery,
anyone?
Or Stratemeyer sanctioned. Like there were some duds in there. Yeah. Absolutely. The CW show had the Simon and Schuster stamp of approval, and some people absolutely hate it. So to have something that's like that's that is supposed to be the like good or whatever going outside of that. We could still have duds, but we could also get something great. So
well, and it doesn't erase anything that already exists,
exactly.
Right? You know, so like you can, if you really don't want that stuff, the mystery stories were always there for you. Like the 77 show is always going to be there for you.
Yeah.
And so really, it's just more opportunity for more opportunity. You know, so
exactly.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Anyway.
I also do have to say, Kori, that whenever they bought that hot dog for Ned, they did not pay. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh no,
that.
I didn't catch that. That's so funny. Oh my god.
That's my last note.
That is so
They
funny.
stole a hot dog. They stole 2 hot dogs this episode.
Oh, Ned, you're a thief too. Brad's gonna come after you.
Because he goes to pay. He goes to pay with the money that they got from Robin Hood.
Oh yeah,
and Nancy's like, wait a second, let me see that. And he's like, okay, hold on 1 second. And but they fully walk away with the hot dogs. And Nancy's eating her hot dog.
I didn't even catch that. That is hilarious. Oh, come on, Nancy. Oh my gosh.
Talking about a rich girl. Rich girl stuff. This is absolutely a mean rich girl thing to do.
She just
not
takes
pay
what
for
she
your
wants.
hot dogs.
Yeah. Jeez.
Oh, anyway. I don't have anything else to say.
Flashlight score?
I give this like a 4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.5. I think the only thing that would have made it better is more of it.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't have any problems. I'm just sad that we couldn't do more. I do still have so many questions left unanswered, so that like 0.5 is like waiting for like what could have been. You know what I mean? But like I don't think there's no fault to the episode itself, you know?
Totally fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would give it the same 4.5. My only complaints yet again, more Bess and George, please. And I want to see Carson, but oh well. So otherwise, great. Brad, in my mind, is definitely in on it. He's absolutely guilty.
Yes.
And that's easy. Fun.
Yeah.
Fun episode. Loved the bad poetry. It was hilarious.
I know. The fact that he only spoke in poems. Honestly, it makes it a little bit more impressive to me. Like, okay, yes, it's bad poetry, but if that's all you say,
you coming up with that just off the dome.
That's not bad. That's not horrible. Maybe workshop it a little bit after, but like
yeah. If I tried to come up with a comeback, I couldn't just like do it off the top of my head in rhymes. So
yeah, absolutely not in rhymes. I can barely do it in English.
Right.
You know, I can barely be like, no, you.
Yeah. Bad guy.
I'm struggling even now to like pretend to say,
oh my gosh,
come back. And there's not even a real situation. So you can only imagine.
Oh
so props to Robin Hood actually for his bad poetry. Maybe we all need to be bad poets. This is what we've learned.
There we go.
Yes.
And do it all while like climbing around this warehouse with no effort at all. It's just so easy for him. I know. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Okay. 4.5. That's a good episode right there.
For sure.
It's a fun one.
Wow. Kori.
Oh my
Kori, what
gosh.
is next? Episode 130.
130. We're going
my
back to another
God.
History Elf episode, you guys.
I'm so excited.
Should we tell them? Should we keep it a surprise?
Well, it's up to you. I think we should tell.
I'm trying to decide how I want to describe it even. Like why this topic?
We'll talk about it a little bit.
Okay. It's the history of Nancy Drew fans. I don't know. You know, Nancy has just been so important to so many people for so long that like it's almost like we, not just us, but like any Nancy Drew fan feels like they are also part of her history, you know, because for something to persist for so long, almost 100 years now, I think we're on year number 96 right now of Nancy Drew.
Wow.
Like somebody's got to love it enough to pass it down to the next generation. You know, and then that has to just keep happening over time enough that, like, I feel like the fans are important enough in Nancy Drew history to at least mention. And there's a lot of things that I feel like a lot of people don't even know that the fandom has credit for. Like, you guys, we wouldn't even know Mildred Wirt Benson's name if it weren't for like a handful of very dedicated fans and just people who love Nancy Drew enough to go and make that effort. And so I just want to like pay tribute to those people, but then just like also all fans and take a look at like, you know, each generation has had basically a different Nancy. And so what does our Nancy look like as millennials versus the Nancy of someone who was born in 1930 and who they grew up with? It's a very different Nancy. So I want to kind of like talk about all of that in one episode. So I know that that's a lot. It was kind of a messy description there. Hopefully that was succinct enough that you guys get what the theme of the episode is going to be. But I'm very excited because I think it's going to be a fun topic. That's maybe not like the typical history episode that we do. So
no, but I love it. That's like, honestly, everything that I like to talk about Nancy Drew is exactly that. I talk about so often. It's just like Nancy's legacy and the legacy and us as like carrying that legacy forward, you know, not just like you and me, but like us as in everyone who loves Nancy. And so absolutely it's so worth it to talk about it. And finally we will have a dedicated episode where we can talk about it like, instead of just like an aside to whatever content we're covering that day. But so I'm very, very excited. So.
Even down to our podcast name, like the identity of being a Nancy Drew fan is so important that it's absolutely worth dedicating an hour and a half to really get down into the details of it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yay. So we hope you will enjoy that as well. Nancy Drews. Oh my God. So we hope you will enjoy that as well, regular Drews. And we will see you then.
Yep. See you then.
Thank you for listening to Regular Nancy Drew. If you like this episode, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Email us at regularnancydrew@gmail.com.
You can also visit our website, regularnancydrew.com, and also follow us on Instagram at regularnancydrew.
You can also support us on Patreon. Patrons at the $3 level vote on upcoming episode topics and get exclusive access to our Scoop Sesh series.
And all patrons receive early access to each episode as well as weekly bonus content.
And to all you regular Drews out there, thanks for listening.